Hello, ma'am and classmates. I am Rafami E. Amaba, and we are the Group 1. We are going to discuss about the Module 4, which is the Portfolio Credit Risk. So, the financial institution increasingly measuring and managing the credit exposure risk at the portfolio level. So, the classification of good and bad credit is insufficient, acknowledging that all loans could potentially turn into bad over time given a certain economic scenario is a prerequisite for managing credit risk at the portfolio level. The traditional credit products are becoming less profitable, which means that there is less room for error in the selecting and pricing of individual transaction or in portfolio decision. It determines whether the portfolio make profit or lose. So let's define first what is the credit portfolio. So credit portfolio is any collection of credit exposure that is formed as part of financial intermediation, just like for example the regular lending products or derivative contracts. It's also process a different types of credit risk. So what is credit risk? So a person or an institution referred to as a borrower mainly need money for conducting business or meeting person's need. In such a case, the borrower approaches the bank for money, then the bank lend money to borrower, and it's subject to credit assessment. After some time, the borrower repays the loan to the bank with the loan interest, and some borrower may fail to pay the bank in accordance with agreed terms. So the bank facing a risk. That is what we call credit risk. Why do credit risk arises? The credit risk arises when a corporate or individual borrower fails to meet their obligation, and then the lender won't get the principal and interest payment needed to pay off a loan that has been issued to a borrower. That is how they rises.
Types of credit risk. There are generally three types of credit risk. First, credit spread risk, occurring due to volatility in the difference between investments, interest rates, and the risk-free return rate. Second, default risk, arising when the borrower is not able to make contractual payments. The risk of loss arising from a debtor being unlikely to pay its loan obligations in full, or the debtor is more than 90 days past due on any material credit obligation. Default risk may impact a credit-sensitive transaction, including loans, securities, and derivatives. Third, downgrade risk, resulting from the downgrade in the risk rating of an issue. Counterparty risk, a major source of credit risk in financial markets arising from exposure to counterparties in financial derivatives such as swaps, forwards, and options. These credit risks are referred to as counterparty risk since they arises from transactions without counterparties. The credit risk that results from such transactions include pre-settlement risk and settlement risk. Both types are default. Legal risk is the risk that an organization is not legally permitted or able to enter into transactions, particularly derivatives transactions. Sovereign or country risk arises from legal, regulatory, and political exposure to international transactions. Every non-domestic credit exposure consists of exposure to the credit quality of the entity or issuer and exposure to the credit quality and integrity of the sovereign nation where the issuer is. Concentration risk affects organization with exposure that is poorly diversified by region or sector. For example, Events or market changes may adversely affect all industry or sector. An organization that is diversified within a sector may still have poor diversification between sectors. As a result, the organization may suffer adversely of condition worsen for those sectors.
Good day everyone, my name is Grant Harold Bacongis and my topic for today is the credit risk versus the interest rate. So credit risk and the interest rate risk are the two types of risk that affect your bond investment. Investment bonds are often put into classes as either the low risk or high risk. When you choose to invest in bonds, you're up against two kinds of risk: the interest rate risk and the credit risk. These two factors can have very distinct impacts on each of the asset classes within the bond market. So what is interest rate? Interest rate refers to the sensitivity of bonds price to change in current interest rates. Bonds with more interest rate risk that is a higher duration tend to rise in price as the rates fall, but they tend to perform poorly or below par as the rates begin to rise. The credit risk is, on the other hand, stands for a bond risk of default. It is the chance that a portion of the principal and interest will not be paid back to investors. Individual bonds with high credit risk do well when their issuer is financially strong, but if the issuer begins to suffer, bonds with high credit risk will weaken. So the entire asset classes can also have high credit risk, and these do better when the economy is getting stronger and they perform poorly when it slows down. How credit risk and interest rate related? So if there is a higher level of perceived credit risk, investors and lenders usually demand a higher rate of interest for their capital.
Good day everyone, I am John Paul Sanchez and my topic for today is types of credit portfolios. Types of credit portfolios. Number 1. Loans and related products portfolios originated by lending business. These are typically further differentiated along the two major types of credit. First is a retail credit portfolio. First of all, what is retail credit portfolio? Retail credit portfolio is a financing method which can provide capital for various purposes. It's also credit portfolios are structured with different types of debt that can be used by a company for a business needs or customer lending. It's also involved business-to-business transactions, as in a firm availing financing via bank. Second is corporate credit portfolio. And what is a corporate credit portfolio? This is any collection of credit exposures that is formed as part of financial intermediation activities, which are regular lending products or derivative contracts, or as an investment in credit risk-sensitive securities such as corporate bonds. It also provides portfolio information, help assess the current state of the portfolio, help guide the organization of credit assets, and help the formation of a future portfolio. Number 2 is a bond portfolios, comprising of credit risky securities investment. This is a bond fund invested primarily in a portfolio of fixed income securities. Bond funds provide instant diversification for investor for a low required minimum investment due to the inverse relationship between interest rate and bond prices. A long-term bond has a greater interest rate risk than a short-term bond. A period of a long-term bond, this is come with a term to maturity of between 10 years and 30 years. And also, a shorter band is generally a band with a short maturity, as we define this period as 5 years or less.
So good day everyone. My name is Queenie Diginantan. So my assigned topic is portfolio risk and credit portfolio management. So first thing I will discuss is portfolio risk. Portfolio risk is a chance that the combination of assets or units within the investments that you own fail to meet financial objectives. Each investment within a portfolio carries its own risk with higher potential return, typically meaning higher risk. So in reality, portfolio is just one of the risks the trader should be wary of. Most risks apply in the individual investments, but it's also important to ensure that your portfolio as a whole doesn't end up working against you. So generally speaking, the lower the risk, the lower our potential return. So next, credit portfolio management denotes a set of principles, tools, processes that underpin the management of credit portfolios, collections of credit assets. The defining characteristic of credit portfolio management activities is that credit risk is assessed and managed not on a standalone basis but in aggregate portfolio in setting. So given the wide variety of borrowers, credit products and market, it is not surprising that there are substantially different management approaches. And the term originate and hold denotes the traditional portfolios via credit origination. So maintain ownership of these assets for the length of their life. So that would be all. And thank you.
Good day everyone. My name is Shaina Clyde B. Ginulay, and my report is about related concept of portfolio management. Credit risk management is the practice of mitigating losses by understanding the adequacy of banks, capital, and loan loss reserves at any given time, and also it is the process of controlling the potential consequences of credit risk. Portfolio management. A portfolio is collecting a project or programs, or it can be related or non-related. When we look at the managing portfolio, we can look at what are the things we need to do to manage multiple projects or programs in our portfolios. Balance sheet. The balance sheet is an overview what a company owns and what a company owes. At a point in time, balance sheet is one of the three very useful financial statements that a company puts together and publishes. Enterprise risk. All organizations have risk. Risk is a fact of life and of course business. But how do you manage risk and balance them with the opportunities that support the achievement of your organization's objectives? That where enterprise management comes into play. Enterprise risk management is all about achieving your organization objectives and strategic goals and eventually improving organizational performance.
That would be all for my topic, and thank you for listening.